I'm a kind of a person who sweats a lot.
You can have it here.
Okay.
You have makeup on, remember? Okay.
So we are making this story in Miami, so
Yeah.
people will know.
Okay, you set there, Lama?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's just take one and rolling. Go ahead.
Yeah. We are going to start to talking about your childhood.
Childhood. We have to go back all the way to when I was very young. Since I remember of being alive again, my young age, when I remember one time I was traveling with my grandfather in a bus one time to one of the closest city from the refugee camp. And from there on, I remember, I think I was very young at that time, almost 3 years old. And I think around 2 years old, I think I started saying many things that which I sometimes don't remember of those words that which I have said to those people that are something like unusual, with many different words, many different stories, and then predicting things. I think I used to say, I'm a Tibetan Buddhist monk, I'm so and so, my name is this. And whenever I used to travel, I guess I used to say like, oh, that's my home in my this lifetime. And I used to be there, and I gave them everything, this and that, and then I died, and then I reborn in that place. And many occasions that I have said like this, and I think my parents sometime, because they've been very from very poor family, and I guess they just cannot take that much, thinking like in Tibetan traditional, we have a reincarnation of great masters, and they never expect anything like that in their life. Something like their own child would be someone who is reborn again in their family. That's why I guess he might be, they're both, my parents used to think like, oh, maybe he's getting crazy, or he's something is abnormal, he's thinking too much, and maybe getting crazy, And by doing those time, since I remember of certain times, I used to beg my parents a lot to go to monastery and spend my life there rather than staying in home. But my grandfather always used to say, it's too young now, you're too young for that. You grow up, and then we will think. And by saying those time, many in Tibetan colony itself, I think many people are there that used to say like, or tease me, or when small child talk a lot, and they just think, oh, Sometimes they don't believe and they just tease their child saying that, you're stupid, you're crazy, and you just say these things in a stupid way, and we don't believe you, and such things like that. And there are many people, I think, they used to believe and thinking, used to say something like, we never know who that child is. Maybe he is something very special, and might be he is reincarnated from some Lama. And one time, I think I remember that I want a throne for myself, and there is no throne in our home. We live in a very small place in refugee camp, and there is nothing like say as a throne. And I asked my parents, I need throne today. I need to sit on throne. I have to give empowerment to the people, call all the village people. And they were like, are you crazy? Nobody is going to come. Don't tell us that to do that. They will think we are crazy again. But anyway, I just started telling everybody to come and meet me, and I will give you this, I will do empowerment, this and that. And finally, I realized that in Warande there is a couple of gunny bag full of corn that we used to put in a refugee camp. So corn gunny bag has been kept it there, and that's quite high. And I sit down on that, and sit on that and try to do some prayer and ask my father to bring textbook and cup and make some which is we call as talk ceremony, talk offerings, and tormas and this and that. And my father and rest of the people in our home, grandfather and everybody is like, okay, whatever you say, because if they don't agree with me, then I will cry. So I think that's why they just like, I have to do it. So they just accept that and then bring it everything on that gunny bag. Ask them put something on gunny bag, and that should look like that should look like a throne. And I used to sit on that and then tell them to bring textbook, this, that, and then I sit on there, and then I ask people to line up and come, and I give them empowerment, give some blessing, and then some piece of from the empowerment. I think I believe in something like that, and at that time I just give them some things like that. And there are people who just don't believe in those. They're just still teasing me at that occasion, I guess. So I said to them, if you don't believe me, I have some disciple in this line right now. So they were like, who would be your disciple? Who is going to be your disciple? That people are crazy, the people whoever says he's your disciple, they are crazy. They will be a crazy people if somebody comes to. And they're teasing me at that same time, and then I was just like asking, giving the empowerment, and I stopped, because I realized that there is some people who is really have some connection with me, because I like them a lot. And I said, he is my disciple, this is my disciple, this is my disciple. There are several people who are lining up in that. And I said, these are my disciple, these are my, and then I whatever I used to say in my mind, that I am that Lama in a previous lifetime, and I am so and so from that their sect, 4 different sectors in Buddhism, in a lineage. So I used to call myself as a Gelug tradition at that young age, because I used to think His Holiness Dalai Lama is my root Lama, and then there is some other Lamas who are, I always have taken some great teachings from my other lifetimes. I used to think something like that in my mind. It always comes up in something that way in my mind. And they used to tease me, yeah, now who is your disciple and this and that. I used to say, oh, these are the people. And they are looking at me, and I said, yeah, are you not? You're from Gelug tradition, right? You are from Gelugpa, right? And then they all like, huh? Yeah. Because many of people in this camp, I guess, they didn't knew they were Gelugpa. And I removed from them, saying, you have to say you are Gelugpa, yes? So I tell my name in that way, and they just like, oh, we are sorry, we could not recognize you. And from there on, they believed me. They never insult or teasing or like doing like playing with a young child. They were not doing that at all. And there was only one monk, which is recently he died. Very old age Lama. His name was Lama Yuenten. So he used to tease me like, because he was a Nyingma lineage. So I'm also Nyingma lineage because I've studied in Nyingma lineage now, and Kajupa lineage. I studied in all the lineage. And I used to say, when I was young, I used to say Gelugpa because I think His Holiness Dalai Lama is very popular at that time. And of course, even today also. But at the same time, if there is some things in my mind, it says I am part of the Gelugpa sect. But at the same time, I lived whole my life with Nyingma. So in that occasion, those time, I don't have any idea of Nyingma lineage. At that time, I always say myself as a Gelug. But when this Lama Yuanden have said to me, like, one day, one occasion, we were going to go to one place where we all get together in that mountain, small mountain, and we all celebrate a certain occasion when His Holiness Dalai Lama visit those places. And he was giving some empowerment at that time in a ground. Everyone is sitting down. And we all prepared everything in our home, and then we left. When we left there, this old Lama is there, and he was just talking to me, and he was just pinching me, and teasing me, saying, look, His Holiness Dalai Lama is Gelugpa Lama. Your Lama is here. So what do you have? Do you have anything to offer him? Do you know him? He was just teasing me like that, just as a small kid, So when he teased me something like that, I was one time okay, two time okay. He was teasing me a lot. And I used to say, even though if I say Gelugpa, but I don't mind, I don't care. I love all the sect. And I catch his hand, because he was just pinching me, teasing me. I catch his hand, and then I big bite on his hand. And he was like, no. From then on, he was not teasing me. But of course, he remembers whole life. Even last 2 years ago, I went to see him, and he remembers that bite, he was saying. So now, just just 1 year and a half, I guess, he died. So anyway, continues with Lama Yuenten. And those occasions, I was 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and 6 years old. 3 to 4 years old in between that time. One day, early morning, I had a special feeling within myself, and I dreamed something very beautiful with many lamas, and I felt very good at that time. And morning when I wake up, and I said to my father and mother, I think today there will be some people who is going to come here as a guest. You must prepare something, a special tea for them. Special tea meaning in Tibetan culture it is butter tea, you see. You have to mix with the milk, and then specially you put extra butter in there, salt, and then mix very nicely. That is the special tea. And when you say it's a monk, Tibetan monk, and then special tea meaning is should be a lot of butter in there. So my mother said, he says something like that every day. Oh, we should not be listening to him. So they just carelessly, they just left it just like that, and I was just playing here and there. I said already that one, and they never took care of that. And in before lunch time, there was a 3 monk came to our home asking donation. Actually, those time is the time that people are started building their monasteries where they have destroyed in Tibet. They came over here, and there are many root lamas are there. They just started building each monastery by each themselves, and they're sending their monks to outside to ask donation. And those occasion, they all go for the donations. So my family thought they came here to ask donation, and when they ask donation, we never leave them at the door or gate or anything like that. We always invite them inside first, and then offer tea, anything you have, biscuit, or anything, cookies, type of Tibetan cookies which we call as a kapse. And when they invited inside, they just sit down and had tea and asked donation. And my grandfather offered, he thought it's a donation, so he offered 20 rupees, I guess. That's what I think. 20 rupees he offered. 20 rupees is quite a lot that time. So he offered 20 rupees. When he offered 20 rupees, they said thank you, but still they are not ready to go. They're still staying, wanting to say some things. And again my grandfather said, okay, have a lunch and then you can go. And they bought all the lunch, and we had lunch, everything. And I was playing around, and again they were like, after the lunch, still there waiting for something. And my grandfather said, so what else I can offer you? And they said, we like to have your grandson. So when they said that, my grandfather was like absolutely no, because he liked me too much, first of all, I guess. And then another thing is he wants to make not a decision by himself, but I think he left that decision on myself. And of course I was saying yes, and he used to say, you don't know, you cannot make your decision right now, because you don't know where you're going, what you're doing, and in the future you can make your decision, but not now. When he said that, I was like, okay. And since he loves me too much, I cannot fight with him, because he is too old and he is too weak at the same time, and he's a very big man, with a fat big man, looks very strong, but inside I know he is weak, because the way he walks, the way he does things, the way he talks, how he takes breath, I constantly watch him, because he have so much problem. And I could not say anything at that time, because I was wanting to go at that time, but my grandfather was like, not at all, not at all. I cannot offer you. I offer you donation, I offer you food, and then what you want, I can offer you whatever you want from this home, but don't ask that, because his time is not come yet, and he will make decision for his life by himself, not anybody. I don't have any right to do that. So they all left at that day, and that is being invited by His Holiness Dalai Lama at that time. asking me to come to the monastery and continue the study and do the leftover work to benefit others. So at that time, I could not go to the temple, monastery, any places. But after some time, almost when I was 6 years old to 7 years, getting into 7 years old, and when I was getting into 7 years old, my grandfather was very sick. He was in hospital, and I used to go to the school. A very small school was there for the I think that's what do you call for that young children's school, KG, kindergartens, yeah, KG classes.
I didn't like that.
And kindergarten schools, I guess I was going into those places, and one day I came back, and he was very we were just playing in and down there, and I realized that there is one big white van is coming to home, and I think that's the last breath that he was taking, and they were bringing down to the down to home, and I realized that he is dying, and he was very very difficult to take those breaths in. It was all I think his last breath is just coming out, and he was struggling a lot with that. So that was my first time watching the death in my life, and it was very hard because I always used to sleep with him. I always used to play with him, and that was the most difficult part for me, to look at someone who was always holding me, always wanting to take me everywhere he goes, and to watch that he is dying. And many occasions I couldn't understand things that it's suddenly appears very uncomfortable feelings of many things is happening right there. And one way I was understanding that he is dying, and everyone has to die, and through that because of that I need to go to the monastery. That is for sure. I used to think even at that age also. And couple of a minute after he died, and because of certain date that it was not perfect to burn, we kept his body in home. And then after some time they took him to burn it, cremation on the mountain side. And then after that, there is nobody who is going to stop me to go to any monastery. And I told my father, even when he was alive, my grandfather was alive, he took promise from my father saying that you're not going to leave him. You're not going to let him go to any monastery at this age. Let him go when he realize, when he have brain. And he said yes. And now after he died, I forced my father, and I can force my father pretty easy. If it is my grandfather, he's very strong, But if my father is just, you can melt it, because I think because of such love that is just he can break. So I just force him like, I want to go. So one day he took me to his own Rinpoche's monastery, and he said, okay, this is your monastery, go ahead and do whatever you want. So I joined it from there to the monastery. And this is the childhood story that is very fast, jumped in many occasion things. But now in the middle of the time where of course I have not talked on a detail every single things, because many of the time that I don't remember, many of the time that I just remember of certain things that I forgot to say. Maybe if we can add up all these things. So between my family life, when I used to have my parents at 7 years until 7 years old, in between there are certain occasion, because of not having too much money in the home, I guess, maybe, which is I really don't know. In Tibetan culture, I think any culture will like to, the children are the most important in certain special days, like holidays, right? Children are more important than all else, because children are the future, and we just sacrifice everything on the children's, and whatever they need, whatever they want. Certain occasions that I remember of one time that when we celebrate New Year's, we used to wear like new clothes, right? Wishing that we will have a new clothes every day. That is the superstitious mind of Tibetan culture. So one part of the side, I guess, we used to say, if you cry today, the first day of the new year, you will cry whole year. Or if you do laugh all day, you will laugh whole year. Something like that. It's one way of superstitious way of thinking. But in a childhood time, I guess those are very important in your life, I guess, because you like to wear certain new things. You want to have firecrackers everywhere, popping up everything, and many things. And certain time, my father used to take us to stitch the cloth for New Year's, and he used to stitch it for New Year, and together in the future can be useful in a school also. So he stitches a school dress for us. Certain time he stitches a school dress, saying that this is new. You see, this is new. So it can be useful for tomorrow for the school also. So maybe I guess lack of money on those times, struggling in a refugee camp, such a time like that. When I was young, very small, I think 4 years old or 5 years old at that time, every year we put in Tibetan refugee camp, we put corn. Corn that grow? Yeah. And those time, one day I realized that there is one bullock carts, right? You know of bullock carts? Bullock cart is two cow pulling. Yeah. And I see that they're bringing so many gunny bag of corn on that bullock cart. When I see that, I saw because of in the refugee camp there is not having good road, and everywhere it's a big stone everywhere, and they're pulling on that. And when it comes very close to the home, and there is two gate with a wood, putting a wood, and when you remove that wood, they can come in. But there is one one hole like this to go the water, and in that side the bullock cart, the ox cannot pull that, you know, those cow cannot pull the cart, and they were like almost from there, from the land to the home, there were bubbles are coming out from their mouth. And many time I see them, they are very, very too much suffering from that. And today, if I see that my childhood time of that time of pure thought at that time, I saw that and I cried. Not because just you know, looking at how they are doing, or but because how much, you know, unfortunate, and how much, you know, suffering is they are in this, in just to pull this and bring it home, just to pull and bring it home, and how much they are sacrificing. On top of that, these two ox, the man who is sitting on there, and he is hitting with a, you know, huge stick, and they are suffering a lot. And I cried and cried and cried at that age, and I remove all the corn and feed them right there, feed them. And you know, there's some of my relatives came up and they was like shouting on me, "What are you doing? We are doing working whole year to get this corn, and you're feeding them right there. You're going to, you know, what you're going to eat tomorrow." So, but still, I was just fighting with them, and you know, I don't care. You should not be doing like this. They are suffering like this, and I'm asking my mother to buy these two ox for me. I want to keep them with me here. I don't want to send them because I don't want to see them suffering like this. So when I see that feeling, today I have lost that. I have lost that type of unconditional compassion in a certain way. Like today I feel like I have manipulated, you know, I have through the ignorant, and whatever I am doing such a way that I feel like this is something that I'm acting, right? Today I feel like there's the pure thing is somewhere is lost. You know, that type of feeling, the pure, nobody taught me that. Nobody have taught at that time to do those things. And I had that feeling, and so pure. And today I bow down to that feeling, and so kind of that heart. And I always try to do, to keep and bring that back, that type of thought. Those type of many time in my life, when I was living with my family at that age, I used to have many different thoughts like that today I really bow down to those thoughts, and I feel like there's many things to learn from those. And after that I left to monastery. Can we stop here for a second?
Do you want to drink something?
Yeah.
Okay. Rolling.
So, in a time that I remember saying that where my father came from, why I'm in refugee camp, where my mother came from, and I had a very slight story of them, which is like my parents both are from Tibet. running away from the Tibetan refugee camp. Tibet country to refugee camp, and where they used to exile in India, very close to the China Tibet border, where they call Pema. Very special pilgrimage of Guru Rinpoche's place, where they have exiled there for a couple of years. When my father was, I think he was a monk before, you know, taken vows, and when he reached to India, he have met a couple of great masters, and also he was running with some lamas. And when he arrived in India, he and other lamas are trying to, you know, when they were receiving foods and aids from other countries, they don't I think they don't have to, you know, seek for food and wander everywhere, but they used to get food, and they just only think of doing some practice and meditation. So they stay for like a couple of years retreat in India, and those time, I guess, there are many people who are bringing food, you know, whatever they share of their ration that they used to get, they save those for them, those who are living in a retreat. And each family used to, you know, whoever they have relatives, their parents, they used to bring their food to them. But my father was alone, I guess, and he didn't have anybody. So there were only one family that who used to bring food for him is my mother's family. So I think my mother was very young at that time, and they used to bring food for him. And suddenly in those exile, they stopped the giving all the aid food. And when they stopped giving food, I think that was a little trick from the Indian government, that whoever are going to be in a military, in Indian military, because they need people to fight, because they are facing, I think, difficulty with the Pakistan and Bangladesh. So I think they are looking for new armies. And I think they said, oh, young people have to join in an army, and they can get food and they can get salary. So many are joining in there. And then I think my father realized that in my mother family, they don't have anybody who can just do something. And he left the robe, and he joined in army, because there are many other people who can survive on him. So he joined in army. He left the monk. And after that, when he had to come back to the vacations and holidays, he brings many food and many things back to the, you know, refugee camp. And then I think he gave to my mother's family, and then that way he met my mother, and they got married, and we born. And from there, I think they left to the South India, from Pema to South India. From Arunachal Pradesh to South India, they lived in South India. And since my mother, I remember of her, one thing for sure, that the great compassion in my heart, that if I have a little bit of extra ordinary of certain special in having a good thought, then I think it's given by my own mother, because she was a wonderful, kind woman who always, when I remember of when I was very young, and There were, when we were in exile in South India, I remember there are people, Indian people themselves living in a village, and they live on a time that even if they have certain money in their hand, they don't just save that and thinking of future for their children or anything like that, but they just spend it like however they want, however they can, you know, and they just think of just celebrating, always need something to celebrate, something excuse to drink alcohol, you know, and then go back and beat the women and things like that. They used to do that, and many times that I remember of. And on those times I remember that my mother realizing those stories on these village people who living in close by refugee camp. I realized that they go for work in a certain place, and when they come back they have not much money in their hand, but very tired and very sad, and already drunk a little bit. And I used to see that my mother called them, and even though we don't have anything much, she used to call them in and feed them everything, and then, you know, advise them and in a many way, and then give them some money and then let them go to their family. And many times I have seen that what she used to do, and if there is anything need of any help for anybody, there is no way that she could say, I don't have time, or I don't have this, I'm not available, or anything like that. She's just always ready to do it, ready to be there. And she didn't had much longer life because of I think when they were like living in exile before, they didn't had much things to eat, very little things to eat, and whatever they used to get is they used to make it as a wine, rice wine and things like that, because it's shortage of food, and rice wine can be very beneficial when they make it like a soup and they take it, and they used to say, I think it's good for health. Without food, only drinking those wine or whatever you're getting it, I think because of those, I think they got certain gastric problem. Through that, throats are sink, you know, dried, and got cancer. So she was just, I think, 33, 4 years old when she was dying. She died at those age, but we'll come on that part later. So I remember of these two parents of mine who are so kind for me, in a way that they have dedicated. Any parents will do that to their children. And in my lifetime, in a refugee camp, in a difficult times, where they always have to look for certain food, certain time, certain things, it's always very difficult. Used to be very, very difficult to get anything in handy, you know, in any family, because it's you don't have anything in your hand. So in a time that where I spent age of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those time I had a great experience of my life, of those experience that today is that I just think on those time, those great thought, great kind thought. I really bow down to those thoughts, and those thoughts were really pure. Not having any kind of other negative thoughts or anything mixing up with those. And I think I don't remember much to say, but there are many things to say, I guess. So
difficult times?
Mm-hmm.
Were they difficult those times?
In a way that I see is since you are very young age and in childhood, you don't have much responsible on your mind. I think I don't see much difficult in my side, but I can see that there is many difficult things going on around me, with my family, with all the people who I live with. And I think many of my friends and my relatives of whoever is growing up with me, I don't think they are realizing those things that I can see at that age. Because one way I can see, if there is one old man walking by wishing for free Tibet, free independent Tibet, and at the same time praying and wishing to be long life and long healthy life, for not for himself but for many other mother beings. And from that age, when I see there is some great lamas visit in certain place, and our Tibetan culture people goes there, and that old age people, wherever His Holiness Dalai Lama or any other great master like His Holiness Tengu Chenzo Rinpoche or Pena Rinpoche or many other masters, wherever even they sit, get a blessing from their hand is something that very, very fortunate. But to wherever they sit and taking their mala and rubbing there on wherever they have sit, and then taking to their forehead and praying, wishing to liberate all the mother beings. And maybe they are praying for all the mother beings. I 100% sure that they are praying for all rest of the mother beings rather than for themselves. The teaching itself is preaches that way in Buddhism. in Tibetan Buddhism, rather than thinking for oneself. And at that age, I don't maybe understand all these words that I am saying right now, but I can see those people at that, when I was very young, I can see the old people who's praying and crying. And I don't know why at that age, I just look at their eyes, the way they do, bow down and seeking for the help, wishing to liberate. I think that's all going on in their mind, I guess. And I cry looking at them, because I bow down to their faith. I bow down to their devotion. That is the main inspiration at that age. I was very young. But that inspiration itself is one thing that always stick in my mind. And when I see there is some old people just praying, and the one thing is, it's always inspires me, is something that how much strong faith and devotion that they have when some lamas sits on any one stone or any places, and they just go there and put their head down there, and then rug their mala, the prayer beads, rug there and put in their forehead and praying, wishing to liberate from the suffering. One thing is I understand at those times is they are looking for liberation. They're looking for peace. And I deeply always at that age touch with those, and I always loved old age people. And I think I used to be very sensitive, in a way that if I see people and then just say it what's going on in their mind, I guess, because of their just being how they are. And I think I born with that, I guess. Something like that. If there is something wrong, I can just say it, something is wrong, something is not good. And I always tell them before they tell me, if there anything, please. And I think because of that, even though my childhood, I could be playing with the rest of the children, but at the same time I can be, I know I'm having this feeling that it's whatever is going on in a family, in a people's mind, people's, getting together, what's going on. If it is not too necessary, if it is not too important, then I think I'm not giving any attention. But if there is something really important, I think I just, to know and not hurt anybody by doing those things, that if it is hurting others. I was very aware of those things. Basically, since if you are acting in a different way when you are a young age, then I think parents get a little bit fear of really, is there anything going on with him, because they might be think like something is wrong with his brain, something is maybe wrong with his attitude, maybe he is getting crazy. But when there is certain sign that shows up that I'm not really any abnormal or any kind of dysfunctioning person or any kind of mentally ill, then they were very happy. They were very happy. And always my father, when I say something like, oh, I'm reincarnated of this, I'm reincarnated of that, my father always used to say, I don't care who you are. You have to prove your life in this lifetime, not from other lifetime. You are this, rather this or that, we don't care. I don't care. Maybe people may be care. People may be respect you. People may be saying that something, extraordinary person, supernatural power maybe you are having. But I really don't care of those things. I care of in this lifetime what you can do by this name, by this lifetime, rather than taking that name and that stage and that power. He always, even today he challenges on those things. Though that he accepts certain things today than before, because those times he used to tell me, you have to do now, this lifetime, whatever you can do it. Rather than saying you are from there, you are from this, you are from this, you had this, you had that, you had this, it's all gone. This life is important. So even today, he accepts a couple of things, because there are many things that I have done in my life, many things that I have worked on. So today he says, yeah, you can say you were reborn of, you are reincarnated of that Lama, but still you must continue your work. So childhood life is, we'll keep it in that much. In a monastery, when I went down, my father, my grandfather time, even though I'm sorry I forgot that, my grandfather time, I think 2 times, even though he doesn't accept to leave me to those monastery, but he is Buddhist, so he always liked to take empowerment, initiation from many other great lamas. So whenever there is empowerment, initiation for like 2 months, 3 months, he used to take me as a vacation to those places with him, stay with him, and wear the robes, and I used to enjoy that. And that monastery was His Holiness Pendra Rinpoche's monastery, and teaching was given by His Holiness Tulku Tsori Rinpoche, was giving, empowerment on those times. And I went a couple of times for the empowerment, and that's why I choose that monastery. And my father also took me there. When he took me there, he was very happy himself that he doesn't tells me he is happy that you're getting monk, you're becoming monk, you're studying on this, wanting to study on this, but he was keeping that happiness inside. And that how I can see that is he does certain things with very unusual things. I was just always very aware of he used to do, you know. And when we arrive in a monastery area, we have to take an auto rickshaw from one place to another. There's three wheel auto. It's like taxi, and you have to sit in there, and then they will take you. And when we get in there and going to the monastery, when we arrive in the monastery, that guy asked 8 rupees, and he gave him 15 rupees, which is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is 7 rupees is extra for him. So I realized that he have given far more than he, you know, there is not much money when you live in refugee camp. So he have given more extra money than I realized that he's happy by doing this right now, because he's so happy that he can just give tips, which I really don't know about tips at those age. But of course I can see he's happy, and he's really happy that he is giving this. And he was very happy at that time. I can see that the auto rickshaw driver, he was just hitting on his shoulder and thanking him, and he was saying everything goes well, and many things he was wishing, he's praying, and he took me to the monastery, and we both went to see His Holiness Pendra Rinpoche, and Rinpoche accepted me as a monk in his monastery, and that was very kind of him. He's a very great master, great I can say greater than great. And from his kindness I have able to enter in monastery and stayed there, and oh, that's a phone. So when I enter in monastery, it was a very good feeling. I had one where I used to stay. You know, usually you have to live with many other small monks together, but since I have considered as a reincarnated Lama, so they have given me one master with one room, and it was very special treat for me. And my master was my teacher at that time was Lama Gelik. He was giving me teaching me how to read and write and things like that. And I start from the day one to studying, and one day I realized that there is one more person coming down to from the refugee camp, joining in the monastery, and I realized that he is coming from the same village, the boy, and his parents was asking me if he can stay with me, and I said yes, because I was very happy since somebody who I know is coming into this monastery, and he can stay with me, yes. And he was quite rough person, you know, very tough boy. So in a monastery, everybody is studying, nobody is enlightened, you see. So we can do the same thing as other children will do. So strangely, sometimes this boy is quite rough and tough, and he he does the opposite things to the whatever I do in this room. And beginning I had a quite difficult to stay with him, because he was untruthful and very dishonest, and I always expect that he will get better and he will, you know, become my best friend and things like that, but it's always been difficult. And as the same way is I asked my master if he can live in other place, because it's very difficult for me. From our refugee camp, our parents used to send the butter to put on the bread and eat. And of course that we get the food from the monastery, but still we have certain extra things in the side. So butter sometimes stays for quite long, but not very long. In between that time we should finish it to eat. And well, during those time, I used to take every time 1 spoon of butter in a tsampa which we eat. Tsampa is some kind of flour, which is a very different food than any other cultures, I guess. And it's just powder and ready to eat with dry cheese and tea, butter tea, and then you can put butter and then mix it and then eat it, ready to eat. So I used to take 1 spoon every day from there, and when I saw that his box is already empty, he take like 3-4 spoon every day and then finish it very fast, and then every day I see my butter is slowly missing. So slowly, every day by day, it's getting less and less. He used to be very nice when I'm alone, but since he came, everything is getting less and less. And then one day I asked him, you know, I think if you want, you can ask me and I will share with you. But without asking me, if you take like that, it's not good for you. And he said, no, I didn't talk. I didn't did this. I didn't did that. He was like very upset, like any children, you know, would do. And I said, well, okay. But if you insist like that, if you say something like you didn't did, and then I'm missing something from here, then I will get upset with you, because it's not good for you. It's not good for me either. And if you accept now, I will share with you because I think you need it. And even if you force like that, then I'm not going to agree with you. And he says, no, I didn't did, I didn't that. And one day I met him and I saw him, he's taking he's taking it from there. And from there on, I just asked my master if he can stay alone in another place where, you know, I have this. These are the small issues goes in a monastery life. It's very, very small issues. Even when I was came first time, I was going to go to the food line where they serve the food and you have to be line. So when I reached there, I was getting into that place and I met this very young, small, tiny monk, very shorter than me. And he was like this, staring at me. And I was like, I couldn't understand why he's just stopping my way and standing like this. I was just going in the side and he was like this. He's stopping in every direction. And I said, what do you want? He says, don't try to be smart with me. I said, what? I didn't do anything to you. He jumped one time and knocked me down and he hit me on my nose and I was like, ah. blood is coming out, and I was like, okay, I lost, you win. And from next day, he is the boss. He's the boss. So when I went inside, and I just took in line. I got food, and there quite some older monk came up and said, okay, wash, and he nowhere to be found. He ran away, and I think he been doing like that for many other monks, because trying to control them. And when there is a every day morning breakfast at 6 o'clock, we have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the monastery. 5 o'clock every morning you have to wake up, and 6 o'clock, tang, 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 tang. Within that you have to wash everything, taking bath, shower, whatever you are taking, finish it and go to the line for breakfast. And after the breakfast, until 11 o'clock, you don't have anything, only tea break at 9 o'clock. There is only one tea. So until 11 o'clock, there's nothing. We are very, we get hungry at that middle of time. So when our parents have kept some money with the master, whoever is, guiding us, teaching us, every morning 9 o'clock, we get a small amount of money. For instance, like if we have like $100, every day 50 cents we will get. 50 cents is to eat some kind of snacks, right? So we used to call that some type of South Indian idli, bonda, those stuff, like made like a kind of chips type, chips type. And then there is some made by rice, steamed rice, So we take those every morning, and I didn't knew why he hate me. And when I went there the first time, I'm trying to get from the 50 cent to eat that, I get 3 idlis with the 2 other boil it in oil with some kind of it's a round called bonda. It's very, very only in South Indian restaurant you may find those. And when I was eating that, he was just watching from the side, and I didn't realize that I have to give it to him. I have to give a certain part of my share to him, because he is the boss, I guess. And he was like watching at me like from the side, and he was like quite upset, And I was like, did I did anything wrong again? No? Let me eat. Don't look at me. And he was just like staring at me, because I think most of those children who are eating there already given their share, and I am the one who is not given him, and I didn't know that. And one monk came up and said, you should give him 1 piece of your share, and you will be fine. Oh, that's the problem here? Okay, take one. And he was like, okay, left. So, and every day, waking up at morning at 5 o'clock, studying, 6 o'clock breakfast, 9 o'clock tea with that, and meeting with one of my best friend who is upset all the time, trying to be boss. And there are certain other friends who doesn't have any money, who also shares with me. And lunchtime at 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock another tea break, and 6 o'clock is dinner. And meantime, we have to go to the school classes we have. For instance, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we have wash my face and prayer and things like that. 6 o'clock, go to, 6 o'clock breakfast, and 7 o'clock start school. 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock we have class for reading, and 9 to 9:30 we have tea break. 9:30 go back again in reading class, Tibetan reading class, script reading class, to until 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock lunch and lunch break, 11 to 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock Tibetan writing, until 3 to 3:30 tea break. 3:30 to 5 o'clock English class. 5 o'clock to 6 is 5 o'clock over the class, and wait for dinner until 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock dinner, and then 7 o'clock break until 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock we go to school again until 9 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock come back, and then you have homework to do until 9, 10, 11, and then again morning wake up at 5. So same thing every day goes in a monastery like that. So life in a monastery itself is very interesting, very enjoyable. I used to love a sport that people, all the monks play. Like we don't used to have like a real ball, which is they blow air inside. We used to collect all the plastic garbage and make it, roll it, and then put a thread here, there, and then we play. But I always liked to play, but I never liked to fight in the monastery with any monk. So I never liked it to play, because in a game we always get fight, because you didn't did this, you didn't did that, pass here, pass there. So it always was a very difficult part. So those are the childhood monk life in the monastery. Beside that, studying is always very hard work. Compared to any other education, I think it's most toughest, most dedication you need in Tibetan, because Tibetan Buddhism teaches not only Tibetan itself, but all the religions, all the cultures, many different ways to live our life. So it is something that very, very hard work to do. And beside that, if it is very simple, like childhood, that living in a society in this country, it has only one thought, to expect some things of just to play and have a couple of subjects, and then you have certain things that it's very convenient for you, and simple thought of my own education to my own things. Over there in our monastery, the way we study and we live, not only I think our mentality goes like from the young age, through learning of compassion. I think we started to giving up everything in those ages, and step by step every day in our life, growing with just giving, growing with just dedicated our life to in a certain point that there is nothing much left in our of course we have certain issues that I would wish I would have this, but in a way that it comes, that is always something for others, you see. And there is that is I think different, and to grow that in our mind, I think it's quite hard work to do, because it's something that there is nothing much, playing dolls and teddy bears with you, not anything like that with you, no comics or nothing with you, you see. no television with you, nothing is there that you could just wish to play with that. It's only you grow is just something like very much like growing within the spiritual way, and I think is if there is anything that if anybody asks that if I have missed something like that to play with, or missed something like I wish I could have that or something like that, I don't think I have anything unfulfilled of my life or anything to do with like I wish I could have this, I wish I would have had that or something like that, because of so much learning by these great masters, through great masters, and through their kindness. I think I felt like I have played with everything, rather than say I wish I could. Those are the things that sometime maybe people may say I wish my father didn't do that. Even today, until only 6-7 years old, I have stayed with them, and I've never stayed with them. And if I say I wish my father could have done more, my mother could have done this, my brother, if I start complaining, I guess compared to any Western country children, I might have 100,000 complaints on them. But why I don't do that? Because of great compassion that I have learned from this monastery, these great masters. Through their kindness, I think I have fulfilled my life with those teachings and those meditations and those practice in everyday life has completely changed. In the monastery life, before it used to be, we used to go to the, in a monastery, it's the same thing, everyone has to work because of being part of the monastery. A monastery itself has a small land that they put some things, and all the monks goes and work there, and certain time of the year we work and try to get some things from there, and through that we eat in the monastery. So we do everything as normal people does in a work way. At the same time, we have a certain special time to do certain ceremonies and learn many things, and those are the very special things. Other than we all, even those age also, we do many work. And all the monks and nuns, those who have grown up with me, those who have so kindful, those masters and teachers, I always have a great respect and honor all the time, thinking of them, even though each time gives me the in a monastery itself, sometime there's certain time that they gives us teaching of being a patient itself. For instance, being a patient, we come on a subject of the patient, and then right after we come out from the class, and there is one monk staring at me, just standing like this, and then again, and maybe I may able to fight with him, but rather than fighting, let him jump on me, and then I lose it, and just problem is over. And those are also my friends who are so kindful by doing those things. And one day, it was so funny that one day one monk, two monk got fight. I guess they were also very young age, and they were just got fight, and they just pushed and pulled, and I think they got stuck something in his lab, and it was very bad wounded, some kind of metal, and he got to the hospital, and they did some surgery, and it was very bad. So this monk who used to always stare at me and be so much strong character all the time, he always liked to be pleased to those who are bigger than him, who he cannot do anything. So one day this guy fought with the other guy, and he got the punishment, and he came from one of those places where they all are together from native place, as the same native place. So all those native place belongs, His Holiness Pandra Rinpoche bring them all together and make him stand there, and he tied up in the pillar and asked everyone to hit 2-2. Shame on you, shame on you, and everybody used to hit 2-2 as a punishment. So this tiny little monk who used to tease me all the time, he comes and he goes like, he have to do put the what do you call that? It's a putting a butter. What do you call that, Jerry?
The butter?
Yeah, it's just like you have being so polite with those who you cannot fight with, What do you say that?
I'm not sure what you would call it.
Yeah.
Like you can't,
Not a polite actually, but it's just like you are just acting like you like him, you just act like you just, and then you don't do anything to me, so you would just leave me. Middle guy.
Yeah.
So everybody hit 2-2 on that boy and saying, shame on you, you spoiled our name, shame on you that we hit each other, shame on you, you're a monk and we all are monk, and you fight with this guy and you hate him. So by doing those time, his turn is come, because he is also part of that person who hated. So when his turns come, he hit him with a very slow, not even just touching there. He's just like, and looking at his face, he was like this, He don't want to see anybody. He was very shy, and he was hitting that monk like, and then showing his face, because he have to talk later, to him. So he again, and then showing his face again. So we were just looking at there. We were laughing. Oh, look at him. He used to beat us. Now he have to be putting butter on him. He is very smart, and he's trying to be smart, I guess. And later His Holiness Pandra Rinpoche realized that he's just not, hitting him. Nobody is hitting very strong, but of course he feels shame. That's why they all let him do that. So he hits slowly. So His Holiness saw that, and he called him here. Hey, come here. His name was Nyima. So Nyima, come here. He took him on his lap, removed his robe, and then hit him on his butt like 5-6 times. You want to kill people? You also want to kill people? You also want to kill like him? You are trying to be smart? so he was like, no, Rinpoche, no, Rinpoche, no, please, I'm sorry. And then he was crying, and his head quite strong. He's saying, shame on you, shame on you. And he was crying, and we were all like, ha, from laughing from the side. And he saw me, come later, I will see you. So I was like, okay. But still, since that time, I think he got much better than before. This is just a joke of our life, you know, whatever is going on certain time, you know, it's that type of things are going on every day in our life in a monk. This is just a young children's way of living. But other than monk in the monastery life is a great life. His Holiness Penda Rinpoche is one of a kind master that who dedicate his life, entire life, on this project, building this monastery, to taking care of all these monks and nuns. Today, if we talk today in this monastery, 4,000 to 5,000 monks and nuns living there, and still he takes care of them. And one person alone himself is taking care of all of them. And on those occasions, I think a couple of 100 monks and nuns will live there in his monastery, studying. And he, from top to bottom, to medical problem, to feeding, to shelter, to clothes, everything is free. There is nothing to worry on that part. His Holiness takes care of everything. And His Holiness Penda Rinpoche, where he gets the money, he goes everywhere, like today I am doing. He does everything, wherever he goes, everywhere, all over the world, to, you know, teach and attend whatever kind of you know, meeting he have to attend. Wherever people calls him, he does all kind of giving empowerments to teach and everything, begging people to sponsor monks and things like that. And he takes his entire life doing those things. And we are, on those occasions, we are enjoying, not having any kind of worry on those parts, just studying, having fun, you know. And monastery life is quite a fun life. And one day we had a couple of occasion because of his kind, from his kind heart. His Holiness Penda Rinpoche, from his kind heart, he have invited many times, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, His Holiness Tulku Tsori Rinpoche, and many other masters to the monastery to receive empowerments, receive all the teachings that we need to get in order for us to, in the future, to give a transformation and towards other younger monks and nuns to follow up those lineage practicing. And because of unbroken lineage, that's why in any other religion, Tibetan Buddhism is the one that really unbroken lineage holder of the teaching and to transformation of all the teachings to the meditation and every single thing's unbroken lineage. That's why is from his great thought of kind heart to letting us share all the empowerment and initiation by his kindness, and inviting all these other great masters, and we have received all those time. And during one of those time, I have certain people arrive from same Tibetan refugee camp, there are many people who came down and to receive that teachings from His Holiness Tulku Tsori Dechen Rinpoche in around 81, 82, around 81, 82, I think so. But we will make those date and time in a later. So during that time we were receiving some empowerments and I realized that there was one monk living in a veranda during the empowerment. He didn't got any rooms because all were packed everywhere in the rooms, everywhere, all the places are packed. That's why he didn't had any place to stay. He was living in that underneath of that veranda and putting one bed and everything is there. And whenever I come down and just go to the monastery during the ceremony, I go in. Before I go, I just see him sitting there and doing some things, and I was always ignore that and then go. And one day I realized that he is not able to move, and he's too old for that, and there is nobody is helping him in that time because everyone is paying, everyone is just getting empowerment, everybody is so busy doing those things. And I realized that it's very close to my room, and if anybody going to help, I'm the one who is supposed to be helping him. And I went to him and I said, do you need help, and I can just bring you food and things like that? And he said, yeah, thank you. And I take his cup and go line up and take both and bring it, give it to him, one for myself, and eat together, we talk and things like that. And he was very old man, not very old, but he couldn't walk because of, I think, some knee problem. He was around like 65 to 70, around that age. And when I saw him every day in that occasion, in that empowerment, I felt like some deep connection with him, even though I couldn't express anything in a way to project, to say something like, I have this way to connect you, I have this feeling on you, but I feel like always I want to help him and I want to do this for him, I want to do that for him. Somehow, maybe because of my grandfather, remembering of my grandfather, how kind he was and how nice he was with me, and because of maybe that way, that's why I just want to help him. And one day when I came back, I realized that he is no more talking. He's talking no more because he was barking, ow, 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 like a dog. And I think he have bit by a dog 1 year before. That's what he says. He said, I have a leg problem somewhere down there because one time dog has bite me here. So I never really took serious on that. And one day when I came back, he's no more talking. He cannot talk. He was very tired, and then when I asked something like, are you hungry? You want me to bring your dinner for you? Wow, 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 wow. And from there on, he don't talk. For 2 days, 3 days, he didn't talk. He talked to me with a way like dog barks. No, wow, 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 wow. Whole night, whole day, whole night, whole day, wow, 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 like that. And I think the mad dog, the rabies dog have bitten him. That's why he got caught by that disease, I guess. And I didn't know what's going on with him because it was strange and I never seen like that in my life. And I was like, really surprised and shocked and afraid what to do, because there's nobody. He have no one who can take care of him. I'm the alone who can take care of him, because I know him now. For a few days I've been taking him, bringing him food and taking care of him. I have talked with him. He have said many things on me. So I just like I have to stay there. So whole night everybody came and watched and went, and I was just sitting there sleeping. After some time he wakes up. I tried to give him water. He was like, whoa, whoa. No water at all. Before that he used to drink water, but there's no way he could drink water. No tea, no water, no food. He just barks for 3 days. And one morning I was sleeping on his bed like this, and there's no sound, and he died. So he died at that time. Doctor came, nurse came, everybody came and said, who is helping him? Who are the people who is helping him? And I said, me. You must get some injection on your stomach. You might, I said, on the stomach? Injection on my stomach? Oh no, I don't want to take that. And she said, you might be die like him if you don't take. I was like so scared, so uncomfortable at that time. And I went after 2 days with uncomfortable feeling whether I should take or not. And then I went one day and she gave me a couple of injections for a couple of days. And from there on, I started having some dreams every other week, or sometime every night for 1 week, or sometime week once, a month, weekly once, like I'm already dead and I'm in certain realms, facing certain punishments, certain things that it's really in a way that which I can see today is it helped me a lot to progress my spiritual path. From his death helped me in a great way on my impermanent thought, because in a way that he have died, and through the doctor's advice that you might also die like that, and they have kept for 2-3 days gap in between that 2-3 days, I was almost dead. Even if it is not dead by that rabies or whatever they call, but because of anxiety or feeling of fear, am I gonna die, or thinking only that way, I was like almost got killed. And because of that, that was, in a saying goes like, it could be bad, it could be good. Even in one hand, it is something that sounds very bad, but on the other hand, it helped me a lot in a way that I could just do so many things, so many good things. And after that, I get that injection, and she said, I don't think you will have that disease, and you don't worry about that. But still, the fear of the death is already stuck in my mind, and I was feeling of, desperate of immediate, instant liberation, instant wanting to get some power to not to have any difficulty of my life. And if it ends right now, I have nothing in my hand, and I was feeling of like desperate of doing something, and I was like really I was brought up in a very good condition because of kind of the way of he died, and everything was so perfect for me. And during those time, every day going to the school and coming back, and every day going to the empowerment on those time, one time, and I came back from the monastery down to the room that way all the Tibetan refugee camp people have came to get this empowerment. They all stayed in that place, and I went to see them, and there was one little boy who was really quite mean. He just like, if he don't like, he will just say, oh, no. One time, and that occasion is finished. That empowerment is finished. Again, we continues with other classes that we had in a school. During that time, my father showed up one time, and it's already now it's like 8, 9, 10, 11, 10 years old, 11 years old, already 11 years old now. And during in 11 years age, at the age of 11, I think he came to see me, to take me to one hospital to see my mother. And he came to the monastery and he said, your mother is waiting in hospital, she want to see you. And I said, okay. And I went with him. And when I went with him, I said, I want to, I didn't knew that, I thought he will take me to the Tibetan refugee camp where they have one small hospital where my grandfather died. I thought he's taking me there, but he took me to the city. Then I thought maybe she is really some serious problem she might be having. When I got there, she was really feeling good, not bad at all. She was eating, she was a little bit uncomfortable, but she was not saying that. She was just, very happy to see me. And when I met her, and the very next time my father was saying, okay, you have a room there. They have taken the lodge, so he said, you have room there, you go and study there, and we will do whatever needs to be done for her. And I said, okay. I was studying, and one way my father was also my teacher, because he's very good in Tibetan script. So I used to read the scripts, reading and things like that. And I realized at that time that my mother is already caught by cancer. I didn't know perfectly, but they said something very bad, and she is not going to get well if she doesn't show to a bigger, higher educated doctor. And my father said, what do you think? We are thinking to move to Nepal. And when he said, I'm thinking to move to Nepal, I said, okay. Don't ask me. I don't know, but it sounds good. And they already decided, so what can we say? I'm just a young boy, and I cannot tell you what to do or not to do, So they have already decided to move to Nepal, and they said, you're coming with us this time, and you can spend some time with us, and then you can go back. I said, okay. And I went back to refugee camp with them after checking with the doctor in that city called Mysore. After that, we went back to Tibetan refugee camp in Kollegal. And whatever we have to sell it to other people, all the things that they could not take, and whatever we just could not solve it, just leave it as it is. And we left with there are few other people also want to live at that time together with us, like my uncle, my other relatives. So we all left that time. And when we came to Nepal, we started renting one small place and we lived there, and day by day my mother is getting weaker, thinner. She used to be very fat and strong, very tiny, thin, getting worse. And they said she have to get a surgery. I think she had very bad thought, some problems. When they took her to the surgery, in the hospital, my father was there, and we all were there, but they're putting us in a side because they didn't want us to see everything what's going on, because they thought it's not good for us or something like that.
How old were you?
I'm 11 years old, and doctor have said to my father that she is going to die in a 6 month, or maybe less than 6 months. So he was very sad. He was very sad that he could not tell anyone, and he was just holding on that, and once the person who knows that his wife is dying, and at that time my parents had 4 children, including me, my sister, my another brother, and one last one was 1 year old at that time. She has given just 1 year old daughter, and she's dying, and she's just like she was and when doctor said already to him that she is going to die, he want to keep it for himself, doesn't want to tell her because it will make her scared. And when he was keeping that, I think someone who spends a lot of time with you, they will know that you already if you have certain tragic in your life, or something happens to you, either you are sad or happy, you will see from your face because of living together so long. So I think my father was showing that kind of face, maybe to my mother, and my mother is quite smart on that, and she just catch it, and she said, "There's something you're hiding from me, and you must tell me. And doctor have took you there to say something. And if there is anything really abnormal or some kind of that I'm dying, you have to let me know, so that I can prepare myself for the death." And then I think my father cried already, couldn't stop. He couldn't stop, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "in 2, 3, 6, anytime you can die." Once he said that, of course I think they both cried a lot. Not because of she's, of course there are some attachment of spending all this time together, and now she's dying, but at the same time she's leaving this 1 year old daughter at that time, and it's really painful for her. And we didn't knew anything about those at that time. We couldn't understand what's going on. We just realized that she's getting surgery and she's getting well. That's what they all told us. And we went back. She was like getting really better. She was walking after surgery. I was thinking like, oh, you're walking, mother, you're walking. So we were so happy. And sometime when I used to sit in other, we used to only one small room, and we all sleep in that room because we are renting that place. I remember that she sits in other bed, always sitting there and praying, and looking at me and looking at other children, and she could not stop her tears. And I act like I didn't see that, and I go immediately and ask her, oh, what happened? You getting pain? You have any pain? I used to think she's having some pain somewhere, she had surgery. I used to ask her, you have any pain? Are you in pain? I should ask my father, I should ask dad, call him. Do I go somewhere, get help? What do you want? She says, no, I'm fine, don't worry. You sit there, study, write. I was learning drawing at that time because I was just having a vacation with my parents, so I just want to study on art. So, and today I realize that she's not crying because of her pain. She's crying because of for us, I guess. You see, looking at me. I was the oldest one, that is just 11, 12 years old, and there is another one, the youngest one, who is just getting 1 year old. And she knows, she's very smart, very intelligent woman who knows how to be with people, who knows that how to behave with the people, how to treat other people. And my father is a kind of person that is very straight, who don't know how to just be polite and do this. He's very straight and very honest guy. And she might be worried on that part, like how he is going to deal with the people and to take care of all these children. And she used to cry a lot. And she used to cry and hide from me, because I'm the one who can just see that and understand that. And not completely understanding what she is going through, but at least there is something pain going on with her. And I think I remember that she every day. My father is so busy after that. After he's getting that news from the doctor, I think he got so busy every day. Taking care of us every day. And then taking her to the other great masters who have a certain qualify of giving a teachings, taking towards all those great masters to guide her before she die. give her all the empowerment that she would receive in her lifetime. And he have spent everything on her from his life, and I think he have took a promise from my mother, saying that I would never marry again, and I will become a monk after you die. And during that time, one day I wake up and my father and mother, they both are talking like, I'm going back to monastery. And I was quite happy to go back to monastery, but at the same time very sad to leave my mother, not knowing what's happening, and looking at her every day crying. And I couldn't. One way I want to go, another way I was very sad. But anyhow, they decided to send me. They decided to send me back to the monastery. When they decided to send me back in monastery, my father took me. I remember that he didn't have much money in his pocket, and he took me for shopping to buy, parents are so kind and so grateful, so wonderful, even though they don't have anything. They are always ready to give up things on us. I think we'll stop here.
Om Mane Veme Hum Mane Veme